Yo, get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Welcome back, Bears Nation. It's your boy Trax, and we're about to plunge into a sea of Bears news that's going to get your blood pumping faster than the last second Hail Mary. Brew your coffee strong because this is Coffee with Trax, and we're going to dive into all things Chicago Bears, baby, with passion, energy, and the fervor that only true fans can muster. Today, we're not just talking, we're dissecting, analyzing, and dreaming big for our beloved Bears. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, baby. Strap in because we're embarking on a journey of hope, strategy, and football excitement. Let's dive into the monumental news, the breaking news we were all waiting for and all hoping for. That's right. Ben Johnson isn't just filling positions, he's transforming the very soul of our coaching staff. And what's a transformation? First up, wow. Talk about a transformation, man. Antoine Randall steps in as our wide receivers coach and assistant head coach. Wow. I wanted this guy freaking right now, fast in the word of God. As soon as he got hired, I was hoping he was unpacking his bags. He was opening up all his luggage, and pop, out comes Antoine Randall. It took a little bit. My buddy Nick from Just Another Year, he was saying, hey, listen, by the way, go check him out, man. Fire. He was saying this. He said, listen, Trax, this just happened 48 hours ago. He just got signed. So calm your jets. I know. And I said, I'm going to tell him to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because he's making Trax uncomfortable right now. He better sign some papers. And he did, man. He got a bunch of guys inked, man. So let's get into it, man. Antoine Randall, wide receivers coach and assistant head coach. So this is what I like about this guy. He's a local guy, man. He's a local guy. He loves the Chicago Bears, from Chicago, passionate, was a quarterback at Indiana University, IUN, and he's just like, he went from like quarterback to receiver. He can talk to the quarterbacks. He can talk to receivers. He can talk to anybody. You seen him chew that receiver out on his team when he got flagged for, bad behavior and all that. He got in his butt, man, and that's what you need, man. You need accountability, and it starts with that. That's just one example of many, okay? One example of many. This isn't just a hire. Antoine Randall isn't just a hire, man. It's a declaration. Randall, with his history as a dynamic player, brings not only his playbook, but his heart and his fire. His intensity on the sidelines, it's like watching a supernova explode with enthusiasm, guys. This guy has passion. He has energy. This man will have our wide receivers pushing beyond their limits, striving for greatness. Remember those iconic moments with him with Jameson Williams? J-Mo 2.0 in Chicago, baby. That's right. That's the spirit he's injecting in our Chicago veins, man. Urgh. Then there's JT Barrett, now our quarterback's coach. He posted on his Instagram that he's a Chicago Bear now. So excited about it. Hasn't been officially said yet, but hey, man, why are you going to post it? You're blue check verified. Now everybody's talking about it. It's freaking amazing. JT Barrett, 30 years young. There's a very intimate thing about being young and Caleb and how they should be able to identify and work together and cook, man. I mean, he came from the Detroit Lions. I feel like this is good. I feel like this is something that could happen, man. It isn't just an appointment, guys. It's a strategic masterpiece by Johnson. Barrett's deep understanding of Johnson's offensive schemes with the Detroit Lions, honed during his tenure with the Lions, could be the crucial element that we need to elevate our new quarterback. Get close to him and get into the nuances and all the details and everything that he needs to help. It's going to take an army of many. It's not just going to be an army of one. It's going to be an army of many, a collective effort. Imagine the mentorship, man, though. A young quarterback with a coach who not only knows the system, but has lived with it. This could be the catalyst that transforms our QB into a true NFL legend. Hey, let's not forget, we still got 3 in the Trinity, okay? We got Al Harris. They did it in 3. Huge exclamation point, man. Al Harris, the defensive back whisperer, stepping in as our defensive back coach, defensive passing game coordinator. This man has a golden touch when it comes to crafting cornerbacks, guys. From his impactful time with the Cowboys, where he turned players into all pros, to his own storied career. Harris is here to strengthen and revitalize our secondary. He's the coach who can elevate raw talent to elite status. Now, I'd like to do something, guys. I'd like to say thank you, first and foremost, for joining Coffee with Tracks. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for sharing your energy and your passion. Thank you for being here early. Hope you got your coffee with Tracks, man. Hope you guys are energized because we're going to have a great one. We're about to bring in a very special guest, a friend of our show, a friend of Chicago Clubhouse, a friend of T-Nick, a guy, T-Nick, and one that helped me get started and launch my podcast just by watching what he did, watching what Chicago Clubhouse did, bringing in all of the stars from yesteryear, from Chicago Bear alumni, and just watching all the excitement from everybody, all the followers and listeners, man. It's such a great feeling when you get that close, intimate connection, and that's what I really enjoy. And then I built out and kind of developed my own thing, but trying to bring a guy on here in a little bit. So, but before we do that, let's talk about the buzz around the offensive coordinator position. The atmosphere is electric with speculation. We've got some intriguing names circling. Bobby Slowik. Here's a name. This guy's actually younger than Ben Johnson, young Timothy. Coming off a stint with the Texans where he turned C.J. Stroud into a phenom. Hello. But can his approach blend with Johnson's vision? Is he the key to unlocking our offensive potential? How about Jeff Nixon? He's fresh from leading Syracuse to the #1 offensive ranking in college football. #1. I'm not sure if you guys realize that, but Syracuse led the league, the nation, in offense. That's pretty impressive, man. How about bringing Jeff Nixon in, man? That would be really nice to have him come in. With a shared past in Miami with Johnson, could Nixon be the magic touch our offense craves? What about Declan Doyle? A link from Denver to Dan Campbell's past in New Orleans. Could this connection be the spark to ignite our Bears offense as far as like a tight ends coach or whatever? We're not quite sure how that would work out, but maybe so. Thomas Hammock, from college success at Northern Illinois, with a history in the NFL, they pulled a big surprise attack and won a huge upset against Notre Dame, who was in the national championship. Notre Dame was. To beat them, that speaks volume, man. With his history in the NFL, could he be the one to revitalize our ground game? A harsh reality? Hank Fraley, we all heard that he was potentially on his way. It wasn't finalized yet. We thought it was. We were all, feeling momentum shifting in our way, and all the stars were aligning, and even people out there that are NFL insiders took the bait, only to find out that he ain't coming. What a bum deal. But we're filling it out pretty good, right? And there's still lots of talks right now about Dennis Allen coming. I got a really good feeling he's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's just a hunch. So we'll keep you posted on that. As soon as news breaks, we'll break. We broke the Ben Johnson at 2:30, and here on out, we've broke everything else. So stay tuned with Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse, Coffee with Tracks After Dark, all the great shows that we do. Hang out with us, man. We love you guys. Thank you for being a part of our community. Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, select all on all notifications so you can see everything that's coming down the pipe, man. And thank you for all the comments. We're going to get you guys in the chat. This show is created from a fan for fans, okay? I'm a student of the game. I played the game, and I've always been a fan of it. And I've always wanted to do this. I've wanted to create a show where your voice is heard. 4-letter network, ESPN doesn't do this. NBC, ABC, none of them do this. This podcast is from a fan for a fan. So we want to make sure your voice is heard. Leave all your comments in the comments below. Listen, once we hit to the 3,000 subscribe mark on YouTube, we are going to give away a custom jersey. All you have to do is smash that notification bell and comment and like. And whoever has the lead and all of that, once we hit the 3,000 mark, is going to get a jersey from Trax. That's right. You're going to get Trax's money, baby, sent to you in the mail. So make sure you pick out the jersey of your choice. If you even want to hold on and wait to see who we draft, we could do that too, or free agent. It's up to you. Regardless, I'll give it to you as soon as we get to 3,000, when we're also going to have a 4,000 and 5,000, all the way up to 100,000 or a million. However big we grow this community, man, we're just going to be giving away merch, man. Fresh swag. You guys are going to look great. They're going to be like, oh, boy, I could see that fresh swag you got there. You must be with Chicago Sports Podcast, man, where they're just giving away merch left and right, man. So, yeah. Man, I was a little bummed out, man. Former left tackle, okay, college, semi-pro. I wanted to get Hank Fraley as our freaking coach. It just didn't happen. It didn't work out. We all had our eyes on, but he's staying in Detroit, confirmed by his wife on social media. I mean, hey, man, it doesn't get any much better than that when you got the boss in the building saying, my hubby ain't coming, okay? That's a done deal. That's a wrap. Unless he's going to get comfortable being uncomfortable, sleeping on the couch. So anyways, guys, but we're not here to mourn that. We're here to strategize. Switching gears, let's discuss assistant GM Ian Cunningham. There's chatter about him possibly moving to Jacksonville, guys. If this happens, Bears fans, we're looking at 2 third-round picks, compensatory picks, 2 third-round picks, one this year and one in 2026. I hate to see him go, but I'll help him pack his bags if we can get 2 third-round picks and potentially bring in a guy that Ben Johnson is comfortable with, maybe even from Detroit. You never know. And that could help us grow into what we're doing now. Kind of like the turn of the new, thing that's going on, this whole new thing with Ben Johnson. It might be a good thing, We'll see what happens, At the end of the day, I'm still not disappointed if we keep Ian, but I really like the fact of getting a couple draft picks and potentially getting somebody that pairs and Ben Johnson's comfortable with, as well as Ryan Poles, obviously, right? But listen, if this happens, Bears fans, 2 third-round draft picks, wow, that'd be great. That's like striking gold in the draft. It's a double-edged sword, though, but such strategic moves could reshape our roster for years, guys. Now I want to engage with you. You guys are the heart of Bears Nation. So I'm going to give you 5 questions, okay? 5 questions. Should we bring in Bobby Slowik on board? Should we bring him on board? Bobby Slowik. Drop a Y for yes or an N for no in the comments below. Question number 2. Who do you envision as the Bears OC? Who do you envision as the Bears offensive coordinator? Now, we know Ben Johnson already said on my forever co-host, Jim Miller, former quarterback Jim Miller, and also on NFL Network. He had him on a couple days ago, the day after he put the ink to the paper and was formally introduced at Hallis Hall for his first ever press conference. Him and Pat Kerwin had him on Moving the Chains. It was an hour-long show. It was great to hear him and everything. And like I said, he was there, and we know he's going to be doing the play calling. He's in here for that and to lead the entire team. But who would you like to see as an OC? Who would you like to see as an OC? Share your top pick below, guys. Share your top pick below. Thank you so much for playing along and participating and all that great stuff. So question number 3. What's your take on our new coaching hires? Are you fired up, cautious, or somewhere in between? Let us know if you're fired up or somewhere in between. What could be the implications of Ian Cunningham's potential departure for the Bears? What could be the implication of Ian Cunningham's potential departure for the Bears? I know one case in particular where, Ryan Poles was really wanting to go get Roma Dunze at 9, and he wanted to move up. And Ian said something about his homework, his gut, maybe both. He said, stay put. He's fallen to us. And he did. So what if he leveraged this year's picks for last year? Maybe he's a good counterbalance, Maybe he's the calm in the storm. Will Ryan start to cave without him? The checks and the balances, the yin and the yang, we don't know, But, what do you guys think about this departure? Could it be bad? Could it be good? Could it be both? Let us know in the comments below. Question number 5 before we introduce our guest. Which area of the team do you believe needs urgent attention? Let's ignite this discussion. This is your platform to your voice, your thoughts, your dreams, and your strategy. While you guys are actively participating in the comments below and dropping your thoughts, I'm going to bring on today's guest. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. There we go. And without further ado, please welcome Crooked Commish. Crooked Commish, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me on. Top of the morning to you and everyone else in the chat. So
Yeah. So everything that you heard, while you're backstage, getting prepared and everything, and finalizing everything that you got to do before you come on. What do you think about these coaches, these moves that we've made? Are you happy? Are you somewhere in between? Or did you kind of want to see somebody else? Are you good with what's going on? What are your thoughts, bud?
I'm pretty good with what's going on. I didn't mind Randall L coming on, us kind of stealing another player from Detroit's coaching staff. And I know that's something that Ben was saying he doesn't want to do too much. He doesn't want to be disrespectful and kind of just coach all of Detroit's coaching staff, considering that Glenn was going to be moving on as well. So I don't mind them. And then same thing with Al Harris. He killed us when he was with Green Bay, the whole time as a player. So, and he was a very solid defensive back. And from what I'm hearing in Dallas, everybody's pretty upset that he's leaving. And that's kind of one way to know whether or not you got any kind of a quality coach is if the opposing fan base, if they're disappointed, just like how Detroit was very disappointed that Ben Johnson was moving on, obviously more disappointed than Glenn. So that's how you kind of have an idea that you may have struck gold or got a good one there as well.
And how do you feel about the other coaches that we got, man? Are you excited about anyone in particular, or are you cautiously optimistic? How are you feeling about these guys?
I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic with Ben and stuff. Like I like what I've seen and whatnot. It's just, not having the head coaching experience, is always a thing that's kind of up in the air. But I have to say his press conference was very, very impressive. Um, his answers, he didn't seem wide-eyed. Looking at Eberlu's press conference, there's moments where he's getting asked a question that's all like, oh shit, I never thought about this question before. He kind of have a wide-eyed answer and stuff. All of Ben's answers, he was sure of himself, and just kind of, he's just seemed very prepared. Didn't seem jittery or kind of shaky in any of his answers and whatnot. And he seems sure of the plan that he has envisioned for Chicago, for us. So I was, like I said, happy to hear what he had to say and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, what about Randall L? What's your thoughts on him, man?
I agree with everything that you said there. I love his passion, and I love the fact that Jameson Williams, he was chewing down, getting on his ass about, messing up. And it's exactly what Caleb said he wanted and stuff, where I want to be coached hard. We want to be coached hard. So when you get to the sideline, don't give me a pat on the head saying, oh, it's okay, we'll fix that. And at halftime, we'll talk about it later. It's like, hey, you fucked up there. What the hell? Like, what happened there? That you blew your assignment. And there was some jawing back. Obviously, Jameson Williams was giving it back to him. And it's kind of that good thing where I didn't mind seeing the firing going back and forth and shit like that. But at the coach got the last word at the end saying, hey, take accountability. You messed up there. I don't want to hear any more shit. Like get your head out of your ass and let's, win this game. So I liked hearing that. I liked him. To me, that's what's holding players accountable. That's what that looks like there.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I think it's important. Also, he likes to like he has some connective with Dan Campbell, but he's also his own man. Like listening to an interview with a former Detroit Lions player, alumni, who's also part of the Detroit Lions. He kind of comes off is what he said in like a, just like a business like type guy, but something about when he gets on that field, man, the passion and energy and everything, like it's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like he just brings it. And from the beginning to the end, it's not about whether you're getting Dan Campbell or whatever. It's about what you get in this guy. And what he said is from day one to the very end, you have to stay consistent with whatever it is that you're bringing to the table. And he said that's what Ben is. He is a true savant. And this guy has been in purgatory for over 30 years with the Detroit Lions. And like I said, he was very disappointed that he left the building. So when you hear guys like that say that, now he's living pretty good. He feels pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I am like you said earlier, it's refreshing to know that he's missed when he's already left,
Yes.
I just got some news coming in right now. This keeps happening, man, whenever we're on the show. But hey, there's two things you control in life: your attitude and attendance. And if you're not on, you're out. So, I mean, that's just part of it. So here we go.
Breaking news. Here.
Yeah. Titans QB coach Bo Hardegree for OC. They interviewed him. The Bears have. They've interviewed Titans QB coach Bo Hardegree for OC. He was on the staff with Ben Johnson with the Dolphins. That's per Ian Rappaport. Hardegree also has experience with developing QBs. With the Raiders, he took over play calling in 2023 and had a winning record with a rookie QB. So somebody that they've brought in to take a look at. We'll see what happens with that. That's developing. Like he said, he wouldn't mind having a defensive coordinator per se with a little bit more skin in the wall, a little bit more skin on the wall, a little bit more, experience. Whereas if he got somebody in there that was more detailed, since obviously he'll be doing the play calling, somebody that could help, build everything and help kind of like be the conduit of everything, all the energy and all of the information that he's putting out there. He's going to need help. As an OC, you can dissect all of the video, all of that stuff, all the film, and go up in the booth, get all that information, and then just focus on play calling on whatever side of the ball you're on. But now he's in charge of the entire team. So he's going to need a village in order to get this going, and he knows that. And this is part of his due diligence, is bringing in all these guys and, seeing who's the best fit for it. You know what I mean? And he said on the Jim Miller show, he said this. He goes, listen, it's not about getting the most experience. It's not about getting the most, the one that costs us the most amount of money. It's about getting it right with who you're comfortable with, and everybody seeing the same vision and being on the same page, and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but obviously he already had some guys in play before this even transpired. My buddy Nick from Just Another Year, he was telling me, he's like, Trax, we just hired this guy like 48 hours ago. Like, calm down, like, relax, dude. Some guys haven't even, they made me a liar up until one team left, and that's the Saints. Everybody else has secured their head coach, but up until that point, until I said that, there was still guys that were like, squirming around trying to find a place, and
right.
But still, there's still a team out there without a head coach. So I think how do you feel about that, Commish? You feel like we're doing pretty good as far as like timing goes and whatnot?
Yeah, I do. It's just one of those things too. There's still some coaches that are in the playoffs that maybe some teams are hired as far as for being coordinators and whatnot.
Yeah.
To get so there may be some guys that their teams are eyeballing as well. So maybe that's why it's not filled up. I have to say though, I do think that the offensive coordinator position may be the trickiest one to fill out, just because you're going into this job knowing that you're not really calling the plays. It's Ben Johnson calling it. So any good that comes out of this Bears offense, a lot of the credit's going to go to Ben Johnson and how he's turned around this offense and stuff. So you're going to have to find the guy that's okay with being kind of in the shadows in a sense, and not getting all the glory and whatnot. And may take him a few years of being in that position before you're finally maybe considered and looked on to be, a head coach somewhere else or whatnot, or take an elevated position elsewhere. Just because
I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that really resonated with him and that he really liked that Dan Campbell did was he said that Dan Campbell empowered everybody to do their jobs. He empowered him to do his job on the offensive side of on the ball, Glenn to do his job on the defensive side of the ball. He didn't micromanage. And why would you bring that up if you're going to be a micromanager yourself? Why? So he obviously, that's something that he's going to allow his men and has to allow his men to do their job. And I think that's where it's refreshing to know that you're not under somebody's thumb, and that's where where growth fosters. And I think when you see that in the building, even at the high level, it translates. And that's what he said about Dan. It translated him as a player and even to where he's at right now. And everybody feels that energy, and everybody feels that, and they pick it up. And that's why I think they're playing so hard. When they were down like 17, 18, 20 freaking guys injured, you keep forgetting that they got a skeleton crew out there, and they just kept rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you don't empower people and let them play underneath themselves and be themselves and whatever. First of all, you have to hire the right guys, because if not, you might end up actually doing other people's job more than you need to. But to get it right, that's what I'm talking about, is important, because if you get this right, it's easier to do that and be less of a, hands-on guy and kind of like let people be within themselves. You know what I mean? There is some structure. I try to do that. I struggle with that, because that's what I am about. I'm about attention to detail, Commish. I'm about, I'm about being uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm about that. That's my life.
Loved hearing that.
I barely sleep. I want to wake up. I hate sleeping. I'm very uncomfortable sleeping and being just comfortable in my bed. Like, I'm like, this bed sucks. We got to get up and do something. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
but it's in that moment that you're doing something that you got to have attention to detail. Walk us through what that means to you when you hear that, what that means to you to hear somebody say that, bro.
So I loved hearing that, and I think this the best way I can kind of relate to it, and I'm sure you can as well, since you like to go to the gym. You go to the gym and you have a pretty good and intense workout. If you come home and you're not uncomfortable sitting down, like your muscles aren't aching and you're not sore and shit like that,
Yeah.
you really didn't have much of a workout. You really didn't push yourself too much and stuff. So it's good when you come home and after, having a good workout like that and you're uncomfortable, you don't quite feel right. That's good. That's what you're supposed to feel like. You're supposed to be uncomfortable after having a good workout session and kind of, straining yourself like that.
Good
Um,
analogy.
but, but what I was gonna say as well with these coaches is these coaches, you can't be afraid to let your players fail. So, and that's what I think the last coaches were, to where they weren't letting not Justin, Caleb take deep shots too often downfield and whatnot. You got to let these guys, you cannot be afraid to let these guys fall on their face, have them take their shots and whatnot. Because guess what? If they fail and they show that they can't do it, then you learn that they're not the guy and it's time to move on from them. But you can't have them keep them like children or babies and whatnot and coddle them and not let them be afraid to take big leaps and shots like that. Because then you never know what the hell you really got in them. Stuff.
Or,
So,
or to your point, even letting the coaches and the coordinators take shots, because
right.
ultimately I think at some point people were scared of their jobs. They saw that the ship was sinking, and that's where, when they start carrying on water, here's a term in the Navy: the boat doesn't sink from the outside, it sinks from the end. So what are you doing to make sure that this boat doesn't freaking sink, man? What are you doing? Don't worry about the water on the outside, worry about if there's water on the inside. Find a way to plug the hole to where water's not coming in anymore, then get the water out, and keep an eye on it. But that's the thing, is like, there was too many of that. So when you look at Caleb, and he didn't throw and have turnovers and whatever, listen, that's great and all, but that shows exactly what you just said. They weren't taking chances, because if they took chances and they took shots down the field, listen, more interceptions, possibly more touchdowns too,
Correct.
possibly more deep throws and not so much yard after catches. Not to say that there's not a place for that. Not to say that there's a place for RPOs. Not to say that there's a place for short passes, the West Coast offense and whatever, that kind of stuff. But I really feel like these guys were running job scared, and it translated on the field to the players too.
Yeah, no, like I said, I 1000% agree with that. Like I said, we would see occasional deep shots here and there, but it wasn't often enough. A lot of the passing was lateral stuff, screens and shit like that. So our offense became way, way too predictable. And then of course, once you fire the offensive coordinator and you're elevating guys that were wide receivers coaches and shit like that. So it's just like, it wasn't even Thomas Brown's kind of offensive system towards the end. So he's just kind of working with what he got and whatnot. So, like I said, try not to look back too far, but too much in the past. But I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall when they decided to keep on Eberflus for the following season instead of just kind of cutting the cord loose. But whatever, it is what it is now, and we finally were able. I'm just happy they didn't continue to hold on to him. We're finally able to move on with someone new. So
Yeah, I
but
agree. I agree. Moving forward now, like I said, the whole Ian Cunningham thing. How
mhm.
do you feel about that, man? Are you got a kind of like mixed emotions on that, or are you good?
um yeah, it's one of those things where, like, the point that you brought up about Post being antsy and wanting to trade up to try and get Rome, and Ian was the one to kind of being like, calm down, it's cool, Like he's going to fall to us. No need to give up capital in the future to move up 1 or 2 spots and stuff. Considering that later on in the draft, we did exactly that to move up around to get Austin Booker. So it's one of those things where it's like, I couldn't even imagine how depleted our draft stock would look like if he were to have moved up to get Rome, and then later on in the draft moved up around to get Austin Booker and whatnot. So
Yeah.
Getting the draft compensation would be nice because it would be awesome to get another 3rd round pick and stuff, but it definitely could affect Poles' thinking and stuff. Who knows if he'd be as disciplined not to move up in drafts and whatnot without having that guy there to kind of being like, hey, think about this player, about this.
Yeah. No, yeah, I get it. There's over 78 people live watching across platforms. You guys, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for sure, hit that notification bell all at the end of it all when we reach 3,000 subscribers. Chicago Sports Podcast. Brandon Trax Hyatt is going to give you guys a custom jersey of your choice. So let me know what you want. And basically all you have to do in order to be a part of that is make sure that you are the winning contestant of the most comments, the most likes, and all of that. Make sure you're a subscriber for a triple trifecta there. So let's get into the comments really quick. Let's see what's going on. Breaking news.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it says Breaking Bruce. He's Breaking News. Bruce says bear down. Phil the Thrill says plank bear down. So a lot of pleasantries. This is part of our community that I like the most, is being able to see that these guys are communicating, talk to each other. It's really great, man. Black Rain says JT, a good leader. I grew up a Ohio State fan because all the Illinois teams sucked. Okay. All right. Tell us how you really feel, buddy. Breaking News, Bruce. I'm very excited about 3 new coaches last night. Awesome, Bruce. Thank you. Coaches are hard at work already. Get this ship sailing in the right direction. Bat down. Breaking news, Bruce. Bears have interviewed Titans QB coach Bo Hardegree for OC. Sources said he was on the staff with Ben Johnson with the Dolphins, per Ian Rappaport. Donkey Kong is not a fan of the Bears. He says they suck. Well, actually, you can be a fan of the Bears. And you can say they suck because they have for a long time. But I think, we're starting to turn the corner there, Donkey Kong. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your opinion. Dante Purify, bear down. What's up, Dante?
Bear down.
Plank says, I'm at work, just checking in. I'm listening, can't chat. Black Rain, Philip, James Childress, Breaking News, Bruce, Dante Purify, Tracks, bear down. Philip says, great in-depth content. Can't wait until free agency and draft discussions. Now it's time to get a legit DC. I agree. I still have hope for, and I've heard from some of my sources that we think it's still going to be Dennis Allen. So it's for me, I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, but nothing is concrete. So let's keep an eye on it, put a pin in it. So let's see what happens. David Rigdon says, keep Cunningham. He wants to keep Cunningham. I could see that. Phil says, offensive line. Zero says, it will be fine if he goes Poles as. Philip says, good morning, Commish. There you go, buddy.
Morning.
Zero says, Poles has Ben Johnson now. Joseph Stone says, clearly O-line and D-line must come first, best available, unless you trade up. I was actually talking to Commish about this before he came on, because I'm going to actually ask him to be the GM on this, and he's going to make the decisions. We'll cross-reference each other, but he's going to make the final call. And, I think he agrees with you for sure. Definitely in the trenches is where his focus will be at. Paul Gibbons says, thanks. You're welcome, Paul. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, buddy. Joseph Stone says, let Cunningham go and get the 2 third-round picks. That sounds like a plan, buddy. TA Cowboys back again. Thank you, TA Cowboys. Look the hell out at that Bears secondary, about to turn up. We Cowboys fans love Coach Al. Best of luck. Yeah, man. Al Harris, I've heard a lot of good things about him, man. I heard, hey, there you go. Proof's in the pudding, right, Commish? just like you were saying earlier.
What I'm talking about. Yeah.
Ray Yanez, bear down. Peckers suck big time. FGB all day. Tell us how you real feel, Yanez. Call up. Love the coaches. Our head coach knows what he is doing. I love it. Bear down. Listen, we heard right away, Shefty reported, he said that Ben Johnson has a star-studded lineup. So, and he is not disappointed so far. So we'll see, remains to be seen. We're going to make sure that we cover everything that's breaking, man. Joseph Stone says, no, Titans suck. Anyone with the ties to the Titans, Will Levis is a no-no. I don't think he's going to bring Will. I think we got the quarterback position on lock, buddy. But we'll see what happens about that OC. Remember, when you go to certain teams, that doesn't mean that you are the team, okay? You have a history before that, and it's what gets you to a team that's struggling. And just because the team continues to struggle doesn't necessarily mean that it's your fault. They'll investigate it. They'll look into it. And that's just what happens sometimes. Rest assured that even some of those OCs that we think or positional coaches don't look good without Daddy there. Case in point, Nagy. Case in point, Adam Gase. There's a few guys out there that without Daddy in the building, they suck. So let's just hang tight, man. Let's hang tight, okay? Nothing is for sure yet. It's just it's not a foregone conclusion. He's just in the building getting an interview. You know what I mean? So Rod D says, that guy is not going to be calling plays. I agree. Breaking News Bruce says, I just shared that on the chat. Bear down. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing, buddy. Phil says, the Dom's delayed onset muscle soreness. Get at it. Yeah, he's a big gym guy. I think Ben will be mid as a coach. Lions own the North. We be busy. Okay, Donkey Kong. Daniel Shytown, hi. These two geniuses. Thank you. Not sure if you really mean that or what.
Little sarcasm there, maybe?
Little sarcasm there. We haven't even fired up the draft simulator. What are you doing? Joseph Stone said Slowik might not be terrible, but we can't sustain with anyone that resembles Waldron's play calling. It was a screen every other play. Well, it worked for him last year when we thought the same thing about, basically he swapped with, Jaden Daniels. The Washington quarterback swapped, looks with the Houston quarterback. He couldn't do nothing wrong last year, and everybody was interested in Slowik, and Slowik still might get a head coaching spot, but let's make no mistake about it. He is a good offensive mind. He comes from his father's tree, and he also comes from the Shanahan tree. So very interesting to see where he goes. I don't think he's terrible at all. I think he's actually a pretty smart coach. So let's see what happens, And you know what? It isn't even a foregone conclusion or even been stated that he'll come into the building, but this is developing. I don't know if anybody honestly thought that Slowik would be that Houston would be moving on without him. You know what I'm saying? And who's to say that Houston is even right for doing that? You know what I mean? That is just kind of like, developing. So I think it was a bad call. I think he should have stayed. I mean, a lot of people were looking at him as a head coach. You know what I'm saying? I think in some instances there's just a fall guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Black Rain says, who's Bo Hardigree? Listen, Black Rain, there's a lot of guys out there that we don't freaking know who they are. Honest to God. Like before all this, when I was a youngster, I didn't even pay attention to coaches or any of that stuff. I paid attention to players, guys that made plays and stuff. As I got older and started listening to this stuff more on the other side, I've gotten more interested in that. So just because we don't know who Bo Hardigree is doesn't mean, and we're going to get into that. We will unpack that in a show later on down, whether it be today or tomorrow, but we'll get into that for sure. Maybe we'll wait to see what, develops after. We don't know. We're all collectively processing this just went down the pipe earlier today or this morning, So this is what happens when you get on early with Trax, man. You get breaking news. Daniel Shytown said, When will Dennis Allen be hired? Ooh, Chi-Town feels very confident too about Dennis Allen. I don't know when, but I hope you're right, and I have that feeling too. And I don't know when also. Joseph Stone says, I don't mean he'll bring Levis with. My buddy is a Titans diehard fan, and he hates their play callers. LOL. So
Okay.
I get that. Sometimes when you call and you call up a play, it doesn't necessarily get executed, right? I mean, players have their own minds and things happen and it doesn't all translate and it doesn't work out. So I understand what you're saying. And yeah, that's definitely worth looking at. We appreciate it, buddy. Dave Rigdon says, who do you expect to be the offensive line coach now that Detroit plans on keeping the one that Johnson wanted to bring? I don't care. I don't care who's the offensive line coach yet. I did bring out a guy yesterday. What I mean is I care because to me that's a very important position. But I'm saying like I'm not overly concerned. That's what I should have said. That's what I should have said. So there is a guy. Where did I put it? Where did I put the guy from? I know where it's at. I was talking to Jim Miller. He actually is friends with him. Dan Rushar. He's a coach in college. And okay, here it is. Spent 10 seasons with the Saints where he worked with Dan Campbell and helped develop some of the league's top tier offenses. His college roots are he's previously coached at Illinois and NIU, building strong ties to Midwest. His recent roles are currently coaching at Tulane since 2023, continuing his impressive career. So Dan Rushar, I also know he's been with Michigan State. So the Spartans. And yeah, man, but he's got that connection, that Dan Campbell connection, with the Saints and all that. So we'll see what happens. And that's what's something that who was that that reported that yesterday? So much Brad Biggs. He reported to keep an eye on it. He didn't say that there was anything developing, but to keep an eye on it. Maybe he knows something and he can't say, but he's thrown a little, bit out there for us to kind of unpack and get, comfortable with. So we'll see. Chi-Town says top European countries with the most beautiful women. Oh, okay. Well, we could have a show on that later. Sweden, Poland, Russia, and Ukraine. Thank you,
I'm
buddy.
not an expert in that area, so I wouldn't know. So I have to take your word on that.
Yeah, we'll take your word on that for sure. Dan Blakemore. Good morning, fellas. Good morning, buddy. DT Honey Bear down. Breaking news, Bruce says, I like anyone that works for Ben Johnson before. Hey, that's a pretty good take. I can't say that you're wrong there. Who's the third co-host with you?
This is
guys?
Chocolate.
What's that?
This is Chocolate. I think this is who they're talking about.
Yeah,
Chocolate
he says he meant the pup. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's get into it, man. Let's fire up the mock draft simulator 5.0. We're going to draft players that would make Ben Johnson and his new coaching staff jump for joy. Here's my vision before we get started, right? I want a versatile offensive lineman, the cornerstone for protecting our quarterback and opening up our running game. Second, a dynamic wide receiver, someone who can execute Randall L's vision with precision and speed. Third, I'd like, with the additional picks from Cunningham's possible move, let's bolster our defensive line, snagging a game changer. Fourth round, I'd like a safety or a linebacker, giving Harris someone to mold into stars. Fifth round, perhaps developmental quarterback. You never know where the next great one might come from. I'll walk you through this mock draft live, explaining each selection that this will be from Commish now and how they fit into Johnson's grand plan, potential transforming our team's future. Remember, it's not just about this season. It's about laying the groundwork for years to come. We're Bears fans. We're resilient. And with this new coaching staff and the right draft picks, we're setting sail for a new era. Like I said, keep the conversation going live. Share this episode. And if you're with me on this journey, smash that like button. Here's to the new era of Bears football, and let's make it unprecedented. So make sure you guys are live in the chat while we're doing this. Let us know. Give us immediate feedback. We'll keep it going on this mock draft 5.0. And let me get it up on the screen. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. Go back to this. And it should be on the screen now.
Yeah. So to answer David's question real quick on offensive line, if Baltimore does move on from their tackle, I would hope that the Bears would try and throw some money at that guy and get him. That's a big if. I'm not sure if they will. And then I wouldn't mind them going after like T. Higgins if we don't get the draft stuff, depending on how much he wants. Receiver, that would just be fun to have another weapon, but that's just me being greedy there. That could also just be bad, just having too many weapons for Caleb as well. So, but
yeah, we'll see what happens. Hey, James Jones, thanks for joining us. You said you're a Washington fan. I'm actually rooting for Washington to have a big upset in Philly where they boo Santa Claus. Shame on them. Hoping Washington gets it done, man. I'd love to see that coaching staff and Dan Quinn grab one. And, keep going with Jaden Daniels. It'd be great, man. Great Cinderella story. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Everybody's welcome here. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that notification bell for everything that we got going on. And thanks for checking us out, man, especially as a visitor, man. Make sure that this is your home now, man. Welcome. Let's see. No one likes Ben Johnson. He sucks. Okay. All right. Tell us how you.
They've been listening to a Moss St. Brown's podcast, I guess, because that's what he was saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was being facetious. Didn't want teams to go and hire Ben, but
yeah. Enough of that. DT Honey Bear. I heard Antoine Randall received an assistant coach position, or was that a rumor? No, we just unpacked that earlier, Honey Bear. You can rewind earlier into the show. Moving forward, we're firing up the mock draft simulator. And James Jones says, I like Ben Johnson. Glad Poles got it right. All right, cool. So here we go. Let's get into it. Let's see what the commish has for us. I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. All right, you ready, General Manager?
Yes, sir. Let's go. And I'll take some help from the chat as well. Let's do this together. So if you guys want to throw some names, we can talk it out.
Yeah, do me a favor and keep the chat. Let me know if you see anything in the chat so I can get back in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's pretend, chat, that I'm Ryan Poles, and the chat, you guys are Ian Cunningham, okay? Make sure I don't go off the deep end.
Or whoever Ian Cunningham's replacement is.
Right.
All right, here we go. Shedeur Sanders with Tennessee, number 1, Mason Graham, number 2, 3, Cameron Ward, the Giants, Mikael Williams, first edge off the block, cornerback Travis Hunter, first receiver McMillan, Jets get a cornerback, second cornerback, Abdul Carter taking another edge. This is a edge take first type. We're going to go ahead and reject this. Commish is basically, he's just going to, the first 2 picks we talked about prior to the show, we're just going to focus on getting some, some starters in the first 2 picks. So we're going to reject all these and let's see what we got. Right now, we've got at number 5, Ashton Genty. We got Stark safety, Edge Pierce, Tennessee. Cornerback from East Carolina, Siobhan. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle. Luther Burden, receiver. One other receiver, Amika from Ohio State. Will Campbell at 17. So those are your first quick picks right there. That's what we got going on.
Well, that's too bad. I was hoping Carter would drop back down to take care of the defensive position first. I really want to address the offensive line, either the offensive line or defensive line players. Can you just show me who's available there?
Defensive line?
Either defense or offensive line. I want to choose between one of the two positions.
Well, you said defensive first, so we'll go there.
All right.
We got safety, got edge, cornerback, linebacker, cornerback, defensive tackle. I mean, we're dropping pretty far now. We're in the 20s.
Yeah. No, we're going too far back there.
So that's what we got in the first 20 right there. Safety and edge, a cornerback, a linebacker.
Who's that at edge?
James Pierce. Let's
Pierce.
read off what he says. 6'5", 242. Top 5 edge rusher prospect 2025. 17 and a half sacks over 2 seasons with elite athleticism and bend. 6'5", 240 pounds. Tennessee standout, excels as pass rusher, but lacks strength and size to anchor on the edge of the NFL. Adding mass is crucial for him to thrive on all 3 downs.
Okay. Who's on the offense?
What's the chat saying? Are they engaging?
Yeah, it looks like they're saying Banks. You should go Banks, the first tackle, and Carter. Carter is gone. Banks are traded back, so that's why I was looking at the offense.
All right, let's go with offensive line. Let's how you doing? Keep it moving. Let's check this out. We got Ashton Genty at 5, Banks at 14, wide receiver 15, wide receiver 16, Will Campbell 17.
Can you show me Banks's information, please?
Yep. Well, since this is our first pick, we'll do a full report. Can you still see that?
I can't see. It's too small for me to really read.
You can't see the full report?
Yeah, it's just the wording's too small.
All right. Well, I'll read you the small short. 6'4", 324. Kelvin Banks made an immediate impact at left tackle upon arriving in Austin, excelling in pass protection. A former 5-star recruit has steadily developed into a top-tier prospect with powerful 6'4", 324-pound frame, impressive length. His combination of strength, leverage, and reach makes him a dominant force. Banks is poised to be a top 10 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. There you go.
All right. Well, like I said, I wanted to stick with one of the line positions, either on the defensive side or offensive side. Like I said, I would have gone Carter if Carter was there, but I think we have to address the trenches. So I would go with Banks there and stick with what they're saying in the chat as well.
All righty, here we go. We've drafted our first player. All right, Will Campbell went right away after we picked that one. How about that? And here comes the receiver, safety, tight end off the board. Again, our next pick is at 41. No, on the 39 and then 41. So, again, we want to get a starter, and then in the future rounds, we can trade back. Genty went to the Raiders. Of course he would. Walker, Pittsburgh. Of course, they want to go get a solid linebacker. Couldn't agree more. It's a good, solid pick. Simmons, Ohio State, went to Rams.
We got the comment here. Pierce reminds me of Leonard Floyd. Couldn't think of it. Okay. That's who Pierce reminds Joseph.
Probably because he's light and fast, and the length and all that.
Skinny and weak at the end. Yeah. He did get pushed around a lot.
Yeah.
They were hoping his speed would be able to get around the edge, get past this guy.
Yeah. Grant went to the Dolphins. That was a defensive tackle I was looking at. Okay, we're going to reject these trades. Focus on what we got in front of us. What position
right.
do we want to look at? Right now, we have Harris at receiver, Alabama QB, Memboa, offensive tackle, Missouri. Another receiver. Got a guard, Wyatt Millam, Caleb Johnson, Iowa.
Okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
So that's all the way down to 48. Another
Yeah.
offensive tackle. You know,
Yeah. So it seems as far as the top position, it's either going to be another offensive lineman as far as best available or receiver.
well, let's go to the defense. Maybe we need to look at the defensive tackles. Okay, at 27, we're already past 27. You've got Tyleik Williams from Ohio State, and then 47, you got Deani Walker from Kentucky. I know those two guys are solid at defensive tackles. So,
Yeah, I think in the pass mocks you've gotten Walker as well, right?
yeah. I really like, and I know an interior defensive line is crucial because we got ran on as soon as we got just a serviceable, guy that got injured. As soon as Billings went down, and he's not great, he's not phenomenal or anything like that, but you saw the immediate impact once he was gone. Everybody ran through the Bears.
For sure,
So.
for sure, yeah. Since we've done Walker before in the past, let's get the dude from Ohio State.
Okay, let's read him off really quick before we. Williams is a versatile defensive lineman with day two potential. We are now in day two in the 2025 draft. He boasts impressive mobility, strength, and a dominant physical profile, flashing pocket penetration, pass rush moves, and block shedding. However, inconsistency in 2024 has limited his chances of climbing into the first round. Okay. So that's why we get him on the cheap, because he had inconsistency, but that's a big boy there. That is a big boy, 6'3", 327.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be moved easily. So
Nope. All right, here we go. Is the chat good with it?
they haven't said too much about that one, so let's go ahead and go with that. One of the things that was asked of us is our thoughts on Tremaine Edmonds' job security.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we can get back to that later. On track. We have now selected Tyleik Williams with our 39th pick. We now have an option of trading now that we've moved out of our first two trench starters. Cleveland wants to trade 41 for 67 and our 149 for their 103 and next year's draft pick. I'm not really concerned or even care about next year's because we're not trading away for next year on here. I do like this one a little bit more. Seattle's going 41 for 48 and our 242 for 98. I think that's actually pretty creative there. If I was going to do a trade back, that would be the one that I'm interested in. What say you?
Yeah, no, I like that too. Those are our only two offers to trade back. Okay, yeah, I'll do the Seattle one. You're not moving back too many spots with 48, so that's 7 spots back.
We can also counter if they've got something else. We could try to see if they'll throw in another pick or move up a little bit on that second pick overall.
We can play with that and try and see if what they say. I don't mind that.
What's the chat saying right now? What do they got going on, brother?
They said let's clone Akeem Hicks. We don't quite got that cloning system down yet. I think the defense as a whole seems to suffer when Eberflus got the axe. We had problems on all levels, not just the run. Okay. The other one says I like the Seattle trade back. The Seattle trade back.
All right, we'll go with that, but let's try to counter and see if we can get more.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a little greedy with it. The worst they can say is no, and we can just accept the original offer.
All right, here we go. I'm trying to get 3 for 2.
All right.
Here we go. Rejected.
All right. Well,
Now, let's just try to do 2. Rejected. Okay.
they're not budging.
They're not budging, but let's see what this looks like. Yeah, they don't want to give up a 3rd pick, so
Yeah.
go ahead and accept it. All right, moving along, right along.
All right.
They're
So
a
we got a little
bit
bit
more
more capital.
stingy this year than they have been in the past. I will give them that. I've noticed that. I've tried to do this a couple times, and they just haven't budged.
Yeah. The computers, it's just worked out. The computer system has worked out the value already. So trying to get any kind of up on them or something past them, the AI is just gonna be like, no, that's unbalanced.
I don't like this one. You're giving me one for next year. We don't even want to entertain that. So we're not getting nothing. Again, with this one, that's all they've got. We're not doing nothing. We're going to reject all offers and focus on the pick that we got at hand. Hopefully we can get another starter here. So best available right now is Deion Walker at defensive tackle. You got Saunders at 62. Another defense. Oh, we're all just, I've got it in the, that's why we're looking at all defensive tackles because I'm okay. So Mamboa, 41, offensive tackle, Missouri. I think he's interesting. I also like this edge from Ole Miss, Princely. I do like, oh man, I almost have to override Caleb Johnson, running back, Iowa. I love this guy. We need a freaking running back, dude.
Okay. Now it sounds like you're being Ryan Poles and I have to be in.
No. I'm just telling you how I'm feeling. Let's see what the chat says about going after Caleb Johnson. Because at the end of the day, I do not think that Swift is going to get it done on his own. And I do think Rashawn Johnson's on his way out now that he's got a Guardian hat on and he's already concussed twice. I don't think, at best, he's probably our 4th running back, and we have to worry about his safety at all times.
Those are very valid points, considering Swift. Ben Johnson had Swift on his team and ended up letting him go, and he ended up going to Philadelphia. So,
but hey, I want to say something. Not that I'm trying to argue with you, but here's the thing: there's a side for everything. They made room for Montgomery. When you know who you're getting in the draft, at Gibbs. Why have the same player? I mean, they're not the exact same player. I would never say that, but the same style, the same speed, the physicality, the type of play. But now Gibbs is obviously a better player in that type of play style. So what you want is get a guy like Montgomery who's known to run north, who can shed blocks, who is good at holding onto the ball, and who's good in the end zone and getting touchdowns. They wanted their 1-2 punch. They wanted to get their what do you call it? Sonic and Knuckles, Yes. And I think that's the only reason why he moved on from him. I don't believe that he's going to move on. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but look for somebody similar to the play style that he possesses, because he had over 7 yards a carry when he was with Ben Johnson. He did great.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do I pay this guy? Because I believe Swift was getting near to the end of the contract. So do I throw a bag at this guy, or do I go draft a younger guy that's cheaper as well? And I think that's more or less what they ended up doing.
And I just feel like sometimes we go from one extreme to the next, and it's not that he didn't like the guy. It's just that he got a guy that was similar to him but younger, and and that's it. Like you said, contract. Are you going to pay him or not? So, all right, enough of that. Back to the 48th pick, brother.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get another offensive weapon. Let's get an offensive weapon. We haven't got one yet. And go with your guy Johnson. We have Joseph on there agreeing as well. They're saying Johnson or even Scatabo, but I think Scatabo, he's good college player, but I'm not sure how well his game's going to translate.
Well, I absolutely love Scatabo, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. He's very appealing and a very sexy pick. However, the way that he plays has created him to have 2 concussions already. So what are we doing? We're trading Rashawn Johnson with 2 concussions for Scatabo with 2 concussions. I mean, hello.
One head case for another.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, I'm not, I hope these guys, I wish these guys well in their careers, and all of that. But to me, it's a red flag early, and we have to land and nail these picks, man. We have to do the best we can to build out our future,
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, let's do Johnson.
All right. Okay. Let's so everybody's good on that. Let's go ahead and read his attributes. A lot of people are picking him in the drafts because the draft is so deep that you don't necessarily have to go out and get the top genty because these guys are very serviceable. Me firsthand, I have a lot of friends that are Iowa Hawkeyes, and they didn't really have a whole lot of flashy, offensive weapons. But the one that they did had was Caleb Johnson at 6 foot tall. He's kind of tall, 225. He's incredible. He had an incredible season this year, solidifying a spot in the NBA draft conversation. 6 foot 225, rare mix of power and agility, like a pitcher with both a fastball and a changeup. Whether breaking tackles or outrunning defenders, Johnson consistently shines against elite competition. Once in the Heisman Trophy discussion, his stock only continues to climb. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this guy at all in his resume. So
yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, everything sounded very nice there, and so yeah, let's get another tool or weapon there for Caleb. Like you said, considering. You made a good point with Rashawn Johnson there and his concussion issues, and that's kind of part of what I worry about with Brisker as well. So
yeah. All right, here we go. Caleb Johnson is now off the board. And who spells their name right? Is it Caleb with a C or Caleb with a K? I guess it depends on who plays better that Sunday,
Right.
Hopefully they both play good and you spell the name both ways.
Yeah. It'll be cool to hear the Caleb to Caleb touchdown.
Yeah. I agree. And we have two Johnsons in the building, Ben Johnson and Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be funny if they drafted him just because of that. Be like, so how did I get my job? Oh, your name. It's just kind of like, it works.
You're right. We had a guy with the last name of Johnson already, a shirt made up. So we figured, you guys are the same size.
Yeah, you need to be number 25, by the way, so we can save money on that.
Yeah, so we don't have to reprint.
That's the Bears that we know. All right, here we go. Now we have, the Packers want to trade with us. We're going to instantly decline that because we're not trading with the enemy. We're not sleeping with the enemy. All right, 72nd pick in the draft. What are you guys looking at?
Let's look at let's go back to the defensive side of the ball.
Defensive side of the ball. Okay. Here's what's available at 62, which we've already passed as a defensive tackle. We've got Chris Paul from Ole Miss at linebacker. More defensive tackles. Everett from Georgia. I always like looking at a Georgia guy. I don't think it would be wrong to get a cornerback, but I'm also looking at this Ransom from Ohio State at safety, only because I've known a lot of people have said this, and it wouldn't make sense. We are a little light in the loafers in terms of safety right now with Brisker's situation and just in general. I think we need to stock up on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. Can we read his bio? Because that's exactly kind of where I was thinking of going.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we have Jalen Reed available also at safety. So we can pull up these three guys. We could pull up Moore at Michigan, Penn State, Reed And then also Ohio State, Lathan Ransom. So here we go at the top of the order. Oh, coming soon. Nothing to be heard of there.
It
Same
may
thing
be
with
like
all
that with
these.
all of them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all of them from here on out, I believe. Unless we
Yeah,
go
yeah.
get a guy. Unless we go get a guy. Let's see if this is at 59. Yeah, see, so these guys here at the top, that's the last one.
They do the top 60.
Probably did the top 60. I agree.
Okay. Man. Okay, so on the offense side of the ball, the top guys are more or less more offensive linemen. Correct. Not see any like receivers or anything that are popping out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. What's the chat about? What are they talking about?
It's pretty quiet in there for now. They're talking about the last thing they were talking about was a Caleb thing as far as spelling of it.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Nothing. If I'm leaning more on the defense there and getting possibly a defensive back like we were talking about to possibly, if nothing else, compete with Brisker, because if something happens and he has another concussion issue during training camp or some shit like that, I'm not sure. I think it would, like I said, it would be smart to have someone in the wings as
Right.
as kind of waiting just in case of an emergency break here type of player.
Yep.
So go back to the defense and let's get one of those three guys there. Let's talk it out between those three safeties that we're looking at.
All right. First of all, let's look at height.
Okay.
It's not even an option. None of them are.
Really? That's disappointing.
That's disappointing. You should at least have that.
Yeah, the height and weight.
Well, you got Rod Moore. He's got 6 foot 198. So at least they're showing us that.
Yeah.
Ransom was in the championship. I mean, he's 82. You're kind of reaching still yet. You're at 72. You're going for 82. You're dropping back 10 spots. Is it because we really need, or can we find one of these guys later on and hopefully somebody else in the chat can help us grab a safety later on,
Yeah. What's our next draft pick after this though? How far back? We're in the 4th right now? Or
we got 98. We'll go to 149 next.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, it's a pretty big drop back.
Oh, you got Fairchild out of Georgia at 80. And let's see, center, Jared Wilson at 112. He's a beast. He's my favorite center out of the draft.
Yeah.
89, Pierce, Ruggers, and Zabel.
I like the center idea for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. Okay. Done deal. We got Jared Wilson. You can't go wrong.
No, because that's something we definitely need, and it's what we talked about at the beginning part of sticking with the trenches and trying to develop that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's more or less what they did in Detroit. Those first few drafts there were pretty boring. They didn't get anybody too exciting. But offensive linemen aren't too exciting to draft.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Trying to do some trades.
Yeah, I'm seeing what we can do. Yeah, I think they're a little butthurt.
Did you rip them off in pass trades or some shit like that? Because that's how they're taking it.
No, no, that was all Ryan Poles. That wasn't me. got a long memory, bro. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm done.
It's like the Michael Jordan thing. They're taking that shit personal.
Yeah, for sure. Oh.
You able to get warmed up in there, Trax? I saw earlier I could see your breath when you were talking.
It got better. It's in the 50s, and then for some reason my propane tank keeps going out. I'm wondering if it's low. It's hard to gauge how much is in here. You know, when you got the tank heater on top of it. You know,
Yeah.
There's a tank top. Are we froze?
I thought so. I was wondering what was going on. I thought you paused it because you were trying to work out trades or something. But it didn't.
No. Oh, yeah. I guess I did. It's resume draft. Okay. Yeah. This is where we got to talk to each other and stuff. Let's see here. What's going on? I don't know where the heck my other window went.
Man, things are closing down.
Okay, there it is.
All right, here we go. Coming up. Yeah, we're on deck.
All right, where are we at? What are we doing?
All right, so let's recap real quick. Oh, we got an offer.
I don't like that one. That's the only one we got, and they're only giving us this. They're drafting the 2026. They're leveraging. No, that ain't no good. All right, so this is who we've got so far. This is our picks. We got Kelvin Banks, Williams, Caleb Johnson, and Jared Wilson. So we got 2 offensive linemen, a defensive tackle, and a running back. I do believe you were interested in trying to look at safety. At the top, we've got Jalen Reed from Penn State.
Okay. Is there any edge guys that are around near him as well to kind of maybe compete with him? If not, then I like
Stewart
Reed.
from Michigan.
Okay.
Swinson from LSU. And I have 0 intel on any of these guys.
What number is Stewart?
Hold on one second. I'm going to take a look at something.
No problem. Go for it.
Usually these kind of go fast the later rounds. You don't really like, what were you saying about safety?
Yeah, just the safety there. If
93, 98, 105, 110, and 139.
Gotcha. Let's go with Reed.
Reed, okay. That'll work. All right, we got a safety, offensive tackle, a center, a defensive tackle. Trying to see if we have one more need, and that's a guard.
In the comments, it says we need 2 O-line guys in the first 3 picks. We can go for a running back in the later rounds, but they're not going to find O-line starters later on. That's fair, for sure.
Now, you could argue it both ways. I mean, really, you don't know until they take the field,
Yeah.
And you don't know, like, potentially there's a lot of free agents available. I like the actual 2026 next year as far as picks go and whatnot. They look a lot better, especially on the tackle and the center. The center looks amazing next year.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what they think of Kareem Amagachi. They drafted him in the 3rd round last year, so
right.
That was a big investment. It's going to be just interesting to see how fast or how well they can develop him.
They
and to
project him
see,
moving into a guard and then being like a swing guy from like guard to tackle. So potentially they want to look at putting him at left guard, but as like a backup, not a starter per se.
gotcha.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where, like, to the one comment post, third round guy, you're hoping that he's going to be starter material. So I mean, to hear that, hopefully, I understand him being a guard this year, but hopefully that he translates and works into being an actual viable starter and
Yeah.
not just a lifetime backup kind of situation guy that floats around the offensive line for spending what we spent on him. But
Yeah, let's see what Ben Johnson and the new, offensive line coach thinks about that guy and if they can actually get him to do something. Because most of the time at the end of the season with Penn State, or no, not Penn State, he was an Ivy League guy.
Yale.
Yale. For Yale, and then with the Bears, he spent sideline, being often injured and all that, and then he got beat. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But as far as this draft goes and free agency, I feel pretty good with it. I like our picks in Banks. I like our picks in Williams. I think those guys can definitely earn a spot at starter. And I see Caleb definitely Johnson, running back from Iowa, definitely getting the rock, man. I don't think we did bad at all with those guys. All right, we're on deck at 149. What do we got?
All right. Let's take a look at what is there any valuable edge guys? I guess we still didn't end up getting one of those guys. So either edge or guard.
I honestly feel
Or you said you want to do a QB. I thought you said in the later rounds, right?
I honestly feel pretty good with this defensive, doubling down on defensive line. I think we've already missed our window of offensive line.
Okay.
But here you go with your defensive tackles. You can double down with these guys, and then, but we can definitely look at offense and. Yep, there's that guy from Syracuse, and Rourke from Indiana. He was pretty good. I like Leonard from Notre Dame, but I think he's running it back, right? Didn't he not declare for the draft? I thought he's going back to Notre Dame for one more year.
I have not heard on that one yet. But I
Syracuse
think I like
that McCord, they led the league with the most offense. I like him. I think he's a good talent. I think it'd be good to have him. I mean, listen, he's a pocket passer, solid field vision. He's good with the structure of an offense, and then he doesn't have creativity. But here's the deal: he might not translate as a high-end NFL starter, but he's reliable backup. And here's another deal: you're not going to hold on to our backup QB for too long. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, Agent may want to sprout his wings and see if he can be a starter somewhere else. I mean, and it's within the realm of reason and possibility because, I mean, shit, we saw Mike Glennon get a starting job somewhere, didn't we? And that guy was complete trash. So it's not completely crazy to see Bajent moving on, knowing that he's not going to be a starter here anytime soon. Is this our last draft pick?
It's our last draft pick.
Okay. If you want to go there, that's cool. Obviously, you can either go there. My other thing was either that or the defensive tackle spot, just because I don't like Zach Pickens at all, and it looks like he's clearly going to be a bust, and I'm not sure if he's going to even make the roster next year.
No, I think we definitely double down. I think he's on his way out. I also think Walker gets traded out of all the guys we're going to let go. I believe Walker's one of them, and that's going to push us into the 90+ million range. So we definitely have to double down and do our due diligence and have a guy that potentially could be there as a good, solid backup. Out of all these guys that I'm looking at right now, I like Hamilton at a 182, and that's a big drop, but we're at, our next pick is 204. But I have heard some good things about Peebles out of Virginia Tech, and that's 155. So we're only sliding back 6 spots. You know what I mean? Does
Yeah.
anybody say anything about Phillips or Robinson in the chat or no?
The only thing that's been said is can't get enough D-line, especially for the Bears. So they're agreeing as far as being on the defensive line side of the ball. As far as
Let's go after. I say we go after Aeneas Peebles, man.
Okay. Do it.
All right. Now our next final pick is 204.
And then we got Honey Bear real quick. Appreciate it. She said great show, or they said great show.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Honey Bear. Thanks for chiming in.
Trax, you got anything else planned for the rest of your day here?
Yeah, just family stuff, you know. We've already got over 200 viewers on YouTube, so that's great.
That's awesome. We appreciate all the views that we get here. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys are into Chicago sports, Chicago content, Trax is definitely on track and getting you the right information there. So
tell them where you're at, man. Tell them where they could find you and your whole background, you know, with the network over there.
Yeah, like you said in the beginning, I'm with the Chicago Clubhouse Network. So we go on Tuesday nights. We have our main show, and just like you, I have to give a lot of my thanks to T. Nick. He's the one that kind of brought me on as well. Being someone that was in the chats and leaving comments and stuff like that, I'm more focused on fantasy football. That's kind of my aspect, or what I contribute to the clubhouse there. So I'm going to be having, once fantasy football season comes back, having a fantasy football show at the clubhouse, the Chicago Clubhouse Network, on Wednesday nights. So if you guys are into that, please feel free to check out that show and talk fantasy football there. And like I said, at the clubhouse, we not only talk Bears, it's also like you guys here as well. We talk Bulls, Cubs, Blackhawks, White Sox, even as well as bad. Even when they're losing 100+ games, we still talk about them. So if you can't find Trax here doing his thing, go to the clubhouse, check us out, check out some of our content, and see what we have to offer as well. So I appreciate that, Trax.
Yeah, man. We're all in this together.
For real. Like I said, the Chicago fan base is a huge fan base. It's one of the biggest fan bases out there. So, I mean, it's like there's more than enough content, more than enough love, and more than enough like things to talk about when it comes to our Chicago Bears and stuff like that. So, all right, so we're up.
We are definitely up. See what we got going.
I agree there, Joseph. Hopefully we become monsters of the midway again. It's been too long since we've been able to kind of say that loud and proud and without being able to lie to ourselves there. So, yeah, hopefully.
Oh, man. I like this safety lane out of Navy.
We already got one, though.
I know.
All right. Let's maybe what receivers are available. Let's see if we can find some toy for Ben there on the offensive
Elijah
side.
Badger out of Florida. 6'1".
Okay, I like the size there.
Illinois, Pat Bryant, 6'3". Let's get a hometown kid and grab Bryant. Call it
No,
a day.
I like that. I like that. Plus, I like the height at 6'3". Well, that's good.
Why not?
So,
you can't teach height, right?
No. Hopefully, he's got some hands though, because you can't teach that either.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, well, that was a good show for sure. Let's get back into the chat. Hey, everybody. Now I could finally see what's behind the curtain.
And Trax, next time I'll get you on my show over there at the clubhouse. We don't go on as frequently as you guys do, but when I am able to get something set up, I know you've come in our chat as well when it's been me and Amp and Chef and stuff like that. So I'd love to get you on with all three of us as well and stuff, since I know you're familiar with those guys.
So, hey guys, we got over 105 viewing across all the cross panels and everything. Paul Gibbons, bear down, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Joseph Stone, thanks for coming back. Joseph Stone, he's intrigued by the Navy safety, probably brings great work ethic and no BS mentality. No, dude, I've seen him. He was lights out, dude. He played really good ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere. I don't know if he's an instant starter, but man, he's a hard hitting dude, man, and he flies to the ball. Osmonic 74. We need 2 O-line guys. Appreciate you. Squeegee, what up, Squeegee? How you doing, buddy? Love your show, man. Thanks for visiting our show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Darius Lockhart, thanks for coming on, man. My forever co-host, man. Love you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, everybody, thanks for dropping all these comments, man, and being so active. We appreciate you guys. Once again, hit that subscribe button and on the notifications. Make sure you guys hit all on all the notifications, and that way you can enter in for our 3,000 subscriber. Once we get that, we'll see who the most active is, and I will send you, personally, I will send you a jersey of your choice from the Chicago Bears, man. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy the day. Be great today. And once again, to quote Ben Johnson, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Who brought the balloons? Was that you?
I just did the peace symbol and balloons came up. I have no idea.
Really?
Yeah. I have no idea.
I didn't get balloons. I didn't get balloons.
I don't know how I did that.
Bring the balloons. Bring the confetti. You guys tell me in the comments how you guys are doing all this magic. This is great.
Let's see if I do 2 of them. I don't know. The balloons were for Ben Johnson.
No balloons. Yeah, they wasted all the balloons on you in the beginning, man.
Oh, well. But thank you for having me on, Trax. Like I said, I appreciate the time and you inviting me on. I know normally this is a solo effort that you do, but it was nice to have a cup of coffee with Trax in the morning.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for reaching out. Just had to ad-lib a little bit onto what I already wrote into the show, but it worked good, man. Good job, man. So you have a good day, brother.
You too. Be safe. Everyone out there, be safe.